Hey everyone, Team UDF here for more ZQuest tutorial Q&A. For today's question, how do we make a puzzle in which a switch can be hit an infinite number of times and it will toggle a secret? Let's go ahead and see one in action. This kind of puzzle will use both tiered puzzles and layers. Really not so much layers, but just have a basic understanding of how you use them. And also, if you don't know what a tiered puzzle is, be sure to check out the video I have on that because we will be using them. So, here's this room. I have some up-down blocks. And I have the switch, but I need to get to that treasure chest. The switch is triggered by a boomerang, so let's go ahead and hit it. Okay, the switches have triggered. I'm going to come over here, but I need to get through there, so let's hit it again. Same deal. As you can see, I can hit it an infinite number of times, and now I can access the treasure chest. So Link can get his 139 rupees, and he'll be good to go on his adventure. So yeah, there you go. That's basically the gist of one in action, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain how it works, and then we're going to work on this one over here that I have not built yet. So we will be building a sword one step by step. So what we're going to be doing in ZQuest now in the editors, we're going to be building an infinite loop so that we can make sure that our secrets continue to trigger as we hit the switches, and everything continues to go just according to plan. This is in a freeform dungeon, as you can tell, and just as a reminder, even though I'm in the classic editor version for 2.5, 2.10 is not left out here because this will work perfectly well. There's only one real tip I'm going to give in the future that I believe only works in 2.5, but 2.110 you guys can get around it by just designing your puzzle a little more carefully anyway. So first let's take a look at how this screen is built. There are two layers on it, as you can see. However, it doesn't really look like there are two layers on the screen. Everything could fit on one layer, except if I disable the first layer, you see the second layer is actually just being occupied by this switch here. And I'll explain why that is in just a moment. First, we have to figure out how to build the loop, though. I'm going to turn on my flags and see I have a bunch of 16s and 17s lying around. The 16s are on the raised blocks and the 17s are on the lower blocks. If I hit F5 and head to my miscellaneous here for my secret combos, I can see I have down and up tiles again, but they're reversed. See, the tiles that start as up are going to have the secret tile 16 when the secret is triggered, so they're going to turn to down tiles. And likewise, once the secret is triggered on the down tiles, they're going to turn to the up tiles. But you'll notice I have them looping to each other. See, this is flag 16 and it jumps to 17. This is tile 17 and it jumps to 16. That is what really completes the loop in this thing here, is the tiles keep bouncing back and forth to each other when the secret is triggered. As for the boomerang secret, now you might be a little confused because look what I have here. I just have a regular floor tile, and it has an inherent flag of the boomerang trigger on it, which is already what it's being triggered by. So like if I go to this screen here, it looks like my switch has a combo, has a flag of 68 rather, so that it has a boomerang trigger. But it's actually not counting the switch, it's just counting this floor tile right here. So the floor tile is the real thing that's being hit by the boomerang. It's actually not this switch. It's kind of a trick, it's an illusion using layers. The reason the boomerang trigger here has another boomerang inherent flag on it is so that when the secret is triggered, it keeps turning into a tile that can be hit by the boomerang again. This means Link can continue to hit this tile with the boomerang, and it just keeps turning into another tile that can be hit with the boomerang. That also completes the loop. So now you can activate the secret an infinite number of times, and you have the two blocks shifting between each other back and forth. Where does this switch come in, though? Because you guys clearly saw that it was changing colors and everything in the test there. Well, to see that, you actually have to go to that second layer. So I'm going to click on the circle for the next layer here, and I'm going to go back to my secret combos, and you'll notice they're now replaced because we're technically not on a different screen, but since we're on a different layer, each layer has its own secret combos. So here I have these switches in place, and they have the exact same loop as the down and up tiles before them. So when the secret is first hit, it turns into this, I don't know, it's kind of yellow, it maybe tan a bit, and then as you can see, it's going to loop to flag 17, which is on tile 17, and then it'll loop back and forth once the boomerang continues to trigger the secret. And that's really all you have to do. You don't need any boomerang triggers on layer 1 at all, because the boomerang's not affecting layer 1. It's only affecting the switch. So that's kind of the nice thing about layers, is when you trigger a secret on one layer, the secrets on all the other layers are going to be unlocked as well. That's a really handy tool to use in something like this. You know, I'm actually going to make one swerve edit here because I don't think I explained the layer thing well enough. The reason it works is because if an unwalkable combo is placed on layer 1, Link still won't be able to walk on it. This is not true for layers 3 and above. So this gives off the illusion that layer 1 isn't really being used at all, and there's just a switch sitting here on layer 0 when in reality, rather, it's sitting on layer 1, and there's just floor on layer 0. For the looping of the boomerang trigger, if we were to use layer 0 for the trigger and set the switch to change as like a boomerang trigger instead, it can't loop because there can only be one general boomerang trigger. There's no way to set up a second looping boomerang trigger directly to change the switch back to its original form like we have on layer 1 here, as in the second layer. So if you want this layering, you actually want to use this layering trick to make this version of the puzzle work properly. But now we're going to jump on over here, and we're going to actually make one with the sword. I do have 2 layers set up here, so if I go to my F12, I don't think there's a hotkey for this on 2.10 actually, so it's just in screen and then layers. And there I just set up the next map and the same screen for my next layer. We only need layer 1. I know I call them layer 1 and 2, they're really layers 0 and 1, but I'm kind of going in an order thing, so... But in any case... Actually, you know what, really quick, I need to jump back into ZC here, because I do need to point out a couple disclaimers about this puzzle. As you probably remember, the screen started out like this, but you'll notice when we walked back into the room, it doesn't matter how I had it set up. It counts the secret as being triggered already, because this is a tiered puzzle, remember. It doesn't matter how many steps there are, there's an infinite number of steps in this puzzle, but ZQuest always remembers the first step on a room, kind of like this, so make sure you set up your puzzles, especially if you're in 2.10. Make sure you set up your puzzles such that Link will be able to use the room to its fullest, even if the room remembers the secret. He can barely reach the trigger there, but luckily we're good to go. Also, I believe, I never checked 2.10 to figure this out, but 2.5 I believe is the only thing that has the secrets are temporary option up in screen data here. Secrets are temporary. If we were to check that, that problem would be abolished completely, and the screen wouldn't remember the first step of the secret at all, but I don't believe that's there in 2.10. So if you're in 2.5, you can fix this with the secrets are temporary button, but in 2.10 you have to build your puzzles a little more carefully. And as I mentioned, it only works on this current screen. I believe I mentioned that. So even if I jump to another screen in the dungeon here, it won't remember the secret, except that first step. This also means you can't really expect the blocks to stay like... If I change the blocks in this room, then they won't change in this room, because the secrets are only working on one screen. There is a way to kind of do something like this on multiple screens, but that may have to be saved for another time, especially since the way I do it requires a script. But yes, and you actually also saw another kind of fluke in this. If I get close enough here... No. Yeah, there we go. See, even though I keep hitting it, it's actually hitting it twice because of the distance, so that it's not really triggering that well. And if I do it, if I'm right up next to it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very carefully, but if you look closely, you'll see it's actually going down, up, then down again. So it's triggering it 3 times right in here, but since it's an odd number, it's triggering the secret back. This could cause problems if your tiered secret has more than 2 steps, because then it's going to start looping into all these crazy things. Like, not crazy things, but it might not get to the step you want it to be, so you have to be careful with distance and these kinds of puzzles as well. haven't exactly tested the sword one yet, but I'm assuming it'll only hit once, even though we're right next to it, because the sword acts differently than the boomerang. So let's go ahead and test it out. So now for this room, let's make the sword puzzle. The idea here is that we're going to make it so that Link needs to get the treasure chest, but as you can see, triggering the secret here is going to raise this block and lower these. So even though he could access the treasure chest, his path is going to become blocked by this. We're actually going to abuse the fact here that ZQuest remembers the first step of a tiered secret. So if you're in 2.5, this is not an instance where you want secrets are temporary. You want to make sure that in screen data this remains unchecked. We don't want that. It's bad. So Link is going to have to flip this switch to open the shutters, and he's going to be going around, and he might do something off to the right here. I haven't built any more screens for this, so this is just kind of a hypothetical scenario. And then he'll come back this way, and he'll be able to get the treasure chest. Or he can just continue through the dungeon normally, using this path, but he won't be able to access that treasure chest until he's willing to go all the way around. So let's go ahead and start constructing the loop, and then we'll do everything with the shutters. So, Link needs to be able to hit something with the sword. So I'm going to jump to F8 here. Oh, I forgot if that did anything or not. Good thing it doesn't seem to. And I need my sword trigger. I'm just going to grab 79 here and throw it on top of the switch there. Actually, it would be good to show you how this room is actually built, because we do have 2 layers here. So let's take a look at the screen as it is. There's layer 1. And there's layer 2, kind of similar to this other room over here, where the switch is the only thing on layer 2. Okay, so we have our sword trigger. Now let's go ahead and set it up in our secret combos. So when Link hits it with the sword, I'm just going to have it turn into an identical tile. Actually, I forget what kind of tile I'm actually using in this room, so let me... Oh, these weird things. Okay, yeah. Okay, there they are. And normally I would set them up for the White Sword, Magic Sword, and Master Sword as well, the exact same tile, but since this is a tutorial, I'm just going to leave it be at that. And I'm going to control-click again to set my inherent combo, or inherent flag, rather, and I'm going to make it do 79. So, now Link's going to hit a 79 flag, and it'll just keep turning into 79 flags, so the trigger loop is complete. Now, layer 1, we just need to make it so that the down-up blocks change to down-up. I forget what order I had it in the other room. I'm just going to do this order in this room. It doesn't matter either way, but make sure you loop secret tile 16 to 17. They don't have to be 16, 17. You could do it down here at 30, 31. I'm just doing it on 16 and 17 because I don't have anything else in use. And then secret tile 17 will loop to 16. So now our tile loops are complete. I just need to make them. I'm going to go back to my combo flags here. I think it's F8 in both 2.10 and 2.5. I could be wrong. So set up. So hold on, 16. Okay, so we need 16 on the up tiles. Whoops. And we need 17 on the single down tile. Okay, so let's take a look at the screen so far. Right now, if I go into preview mode, hitting X on 2.5 editor, and I trigger the secret in the room by hitting S, it seems our tiles going up and down, they seem to be fine. We don't see any change in the switch because the switch is on layer 1, and it supersedes layer 0, so you're not actually seeing anything happening on layer 0. Nothing would really be happening anyway because it's just changing into the same tile. Alright. Now, I do have shutters in this room, so we're going to be using a couple extra steps here, but you're going to see they're almost exactly the same, except I forget which page my cave tiles are on here. Oh, here they are. So what we're going to do is we need to loop the cave door. So I'm going to set up the open tiles. Well, I'll just do it back and forth. So I'm going to make the open left here, and then on 19 I'm going to make the open closed. That makes no sense. The closed. The left closed. There we go. Let's see. Where were they? Oh, so 41. Okay. And we're going to have 18 loop to 19. And 19 will just loop back to 18. So here's what we have so far. I'm going to do the same thing with the right. I can't believe it was 41. Oh, well, that's okay. Alright, and then this is 20, so it needs to go to 21. And then 21 just needs to go back to 20. So there we go. So the left shutter will need 18, and the right shutter will need 20. Let's go ahead and grab those. Left and right. So let's start triggering the secret again in preview mode. There it is once. This is what the screen will remember, so when Link comes back from the right here, the treasure chest will be open. And then, there you go, as you can see, it looks like we're good to go. Now the final thing we have to do is we just have to go to layer 1's, or the second layer if you prefer. So make sure you check it off. And now when we go to secret combos, there's nothing there because we're on another layer. So I'm going to head to my switch. If I can find it. Oh, there it is. I believe I have it on the left position, so I'm going to grab the right position first. Have it loop to 17. And I'll have the second tile loop to 16. And as you could guess, the second tile is just going to be the switch in the original position. So that's what we have there. We don't need anything else at all. Besides, you know, placing the secret tile flag on the lever. But I mean, in secret flags, you don't need anything else. You don't need a boomerang, you don't need a sword or anything at all. And now, let's check out the room. So here's preview mode. I'm going to trigger the secret, switch moves, doors open, tiles move back and forth. There we go. Looks like it's good to go. And I'm just going to make this a special item room. And I'm going to give Link 139 rupees. Why not? Seems to be my favorite number. Alright, let's go ahead and test it. I am going to have to exit the current game I'm in because I edited it. So let's jump back in. Yeah, I'm working in BA again. Okay, so here's this room. Don't need to do much of anything in here. Okay, and this wasn't a boomerang trigger, it was a sword trigger. Okay, I was right, it does only work once. So Link would go through this door. You know, this isn't really like a setup or anything. I've told you I didn't build any additional screens for that. But the point is, when he comes back around, and I have to remember not to hit that hotkey because F11 is the Camtasia recorder. Okay, so he would be somewhere over here, and then, you know, when he comes back onto the screen, it remembers the first step of the secret. Whoops. Actually, I do need to be able to check that. Since this is part of good puzzle design, you have to make sure that the player can't break the puzzle. So you see, Link wouldn't be able to reach the thing over here. Now I ruined it anyway. So, if Link was over here, we could guarantee that he's not going to be hitting that switch again. So he cannot really cheat his way through this puzzle. He has to do it this way. And then there's the treasure chest. Then Link would go back around, appear over there, and he could flip the switch back, do something else in the dungeon. However you want to build it, but there it is. The secret is complete, and it works. Back in the editor, I don't really think I have anything else to say. Yeah, no, I think that does it for toggling secrets infinitely. So if you guys have any additional questions on this, go ahead and feel free to post them in the comments section. I also alluded earlier to needing a script to do this permanently. That really isn't the case. I just don't remember how to do it the other way in 2.10 right now. If I go back in my really old Pale Soul game, it should still be somewhere in there, at least one example. So if I'm able to find that and put together a video, I'll show you guys how to do that, since that was the other guy's question pretty much for this video. But other than that, I don't know, I feel like I did this really impromptuly, so I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything, but I don't think I have. I mean, the puzzle works, so, you know, there you go. I just didn't want to build the rest of the dungeon to show you going all the way around. But you guys can envision that, make your own dungeons and everything. So, I do believe that will do it for this episode of ZQuest Tutorial Q&A. I have one more Q&A video to make. Someone asked how to make candles emit a glow in dark rooms if they're lit. I just don't think I have enough time to do that tonight, so I'm probably going to leave it at this for now, and then very shortly over the weekend you should have a brief video on that, since it's pretty straightforward to do. I'll even go to a room over here to give you a preview. You see, this is what it looks like. You can see we're going to use some layer tricks here. Not all these layers are for the dark rooms, though. But yeah, so just kind of a preview of what's next to come. So thanks to everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time for more ZQuest tutorial Q&A. Bye!